Hi guys, welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be looking at daggers. It's been quite heavily requested, people are looking forward to this one, which is good. I like daggers, so again, as always, we're going to go straight into the Elder's Dagger, go over all the passives. Obviously please keep in mind the damage is a little bit subjective just because of the item power of this, but yeah, so we're going to start with the Elder's Dagger first and work our way up. So these are the mats needed. It's pretty weird actually, they need 16 of each rather than 20 and 12, which is pretty cool. But anyway, let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to go over is the passives. Deep cuts. Every 4 normal attacks you inflict a bleeding on the enemy. This deals an additional 57 per second for 1.5 seconds. It's actually really good with Elder's Dagger. I'll go over why in a little while. But yeah, I actually like this on Elder's Dagger. I think it's good. Sorry, just to carry on with that. On the other daggers, you tend to sort of play around your stacks a little bit more and not be auto-attacking as much as you probably could be. So, I mean, on the other dagger it's probably not great, but on the Elder's Dagger where it's auto-attack focused, then this is really good. Life Leech. Every normal attack you restore 8 health. There's actually a build that I've seen played around this where someone used an Elder's Dagger with a torch, mercenary jacket and mage cowl, and they basically just healed for an absolute truckload on cooldown. They healed for so much using this with just lots of attack speed and lots of sustain. They did really well and they were doing high damage with it as well. Attack speed. Every 6 normal attacks you get an attack speed bonus of 30% for 3 seconds. I think you need too many auto attacks for this to be good. I think 6 is just way too much. If this was 4, it'd potentially beat out deep cuts for this build, but for the dagger, but I think 6 is just too much. An aggressive rush. Every 4 normal attacks or your damage gets increased by 6% for 3 seconds. I think the deep cuts actually offers more in terms of like a damage bonus, but I haven't really tested it because obviously aggressive rush is quite late to unlock. But yeah, I think deep cut still takes the win there. But yeah, so let's go over the Q and the W's. So Q, Sunder Armour, an attack dealing 228 physical damage and reducing the target's armour and magic resist by -15 for 8 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. So -45 reductions, resistances. It's not great, but it's something. At least you're doing a little bit more sort of true damage to them, which is something I suppose. The energy cost is 17, which is a little bit higher than most spam abilities, but still not loads. And a 3-second cooldown, which kind of counteracts the energy cost anyway, in that it's quite a long cooldown for a spam ability. Assassin Spirit increases your normal attack speed by 12% and normal attack damage by 30% for 7 seconds. However, it also reduces your resistances by -21. Stacks up to 3 times. So you can get a 36% attack speed bonus and a 90% auto attack damage increase. But it will reduce your resistances by 63. Activating this at 3 stacks to get it to your 4th stack will turn you invisible and take all your stacks away, which is pretty cool, which means you can actually, if you're good at playing around with this, you can run in, do an absolute truckload of damage with your 2nd and 3rd stack, and then as soon as things get a little bit hairy, you can use the 4th Q to stealth up and run away, reset the fight and start again. Which is pretty cool. However, it's heavily countered by a single dot. If you fight a Curse Staff and they've got a dot on you, the first tick will bring you out of invis, and that tactic doesn't work. With Elder's Dagger, Assassin Spirit's the way to go. With the other daggers, it's kind of half and half. Throwing blades. Throw 3 throwing blades in a cone. Each blade deals 72 damage. For each enemy hit, you gain a 15% damage buff, and your move speed is increased by 25% for 5 seconds. Can stack up to 3 times and gains 1 stack for each unique enemy hit. So the animation on this is really weird. I actually struggle to ever hit more than 2. I've not had an opportunity where I've consistently been able to hit 3, even if there's like more than 3 mobs. It seems that each one has to individually hit a mob, and sometimes it just literally won't, which is a bit weird, but if it does hit, a 45% damage buff and a 75% move speed increase is just mental. Even 2 stacks, 30% damage buff and a 50% move speed increase. If you're good at landing these, if you're ganking, landing these on mobs is a big thing. Like, if you play around and you're good with it, there's definitely an aspect to this being good. 38 energy cost, which is really high. 18 meter range, which is quite long, not quite off screen, but close, and a 15-second cooldown. So you can keep this up quite easily. Like, you're not going to keep it up 100%, but you're going to be able to keep a high move speed up. Dashes towards the target area. Energy cost 27, 11 meter range. It's 11 meter dash, and 10-second cooldown. The mobility of this alone is mental. If you use this with the Assassin Spirit to get the stealth at the end of it, it's just ridiculous. Like, the amount of mobility you can have is just mental. Forbidden Stab, a fiendish attack dealing 232 damage and reducing the target's ability to heal by 40% for 5 seconds. Energy cost 27, cooldown 15 seconds. I think this is very underrated and needs to be used more. So if you stick a dagger just to swap to a healer to put this on every 15 seconds, you're going to reduce their healing by so much that it's ridiculous. They're just not going to be able to deal with it. And I don't think people are doing it enough. It really, really is strong. Definitely give this a go in things like Hellgates. If you just dive onto the healer, stick this on, and then focus a Clothy with no cooldowns, they're dead. Like, you're not going to be able to out-heal it. And Infiltration. Set a destination that you will jump to after a short delay, releasing a smoke bomb at your destination. The bomb deals 91 damage and makes any enemy target in the area sleep for 9.6 seconds. 31 energy cost and 11 meter range with a 15-second cooldown. So it's actually going to be about a 6-second sleep, 5-6 second sleep after CC resistance. You also have to land it, which is quite difficult because there's a delay on it, and it's an animated delay, like you're going to see the telegraph for it. So I don't see anyone use it. Obviously it's quite a high ability as well, but I don't see anyone use it. I think people would much rather use Forbidden Stab or Dash. Like, they do both of the jobs that this could potentially do. Like, you could dive onto the healer and sleep him and focus a DPS, but Forbidden Stab kind of does something similar. Like, Dash just has the mobility but better, lower cooldown, lower energy cost, same range and instant. So I think these two abilities, you'd just pick whichever one you want for the situation. I don't think this has a place at the moment. If it was instant, I think instant but a less of a sleep would be strong. I think that would be good. And Poison Coating. Applies poison to your weapon, which deals 174 in additional magic damage with each hit for the next 5 seconds. So basically, if you pop this at 3 stacks of that, you're going to have 36% attack speed buff. You basically pop every attack speed steroid you can during this, and you're going to kick out a ridiculous amount of damage. It's really, really strong. However, you're going to get peeled off. Like, that's the whole point of it. You will get peeled off, and you're not going to be hitting this reliably. As soon as someone pops this, I knock them away, I ice block, I CC them, I do whatever, but I do not get hit by this. Because if you get hit, there's a good chance an Elder Dagger, like not just a dagger, a single-handed dagger, could actually solo kill someone very quickly. You imagine that on like 2 to 3 stacks using both. Forbidden Stab and then putting that on the healer, you're going to rip them apart, and there's nothing they're going to be able to do about it. So good weapon. I think it's underused. I think it has the potential to kick out a lot of pressure if people were to use it right. Next we're going to move on to the Dagger pair. So obviously everything else is the same. The only thing we're going to change is the only thing that changes is the E. Slit Throat does very high physical damage. This spell consumes your Sunder Armor charges or Assassin Spirit charges. The total damage depends on the number of charges. 60% of the damage will be done instantly, and the remaining 40% is bleed damage over time. 0 charges is 450 damage, 1 charge is 730, 2 charges 1096, 3 charges is 1552. So if you get this on the 3 charge thing, it's going to hit for a lot. The only problem here, so the energy cost is 42, which is, it's whatever, it's not major. The cast time is 0.6 seconds. People really make a big deal out of this. It's not difficult to get around. Just as long as you start the animation, you're going to hit it. All it means is that there's a little bit of outplay, but if you're playing this, you should know how to deal with that anyway. And the cooldown 15 seconds is meh, it's whatever. So it's a good weapon, it really is, and people really slate it after the changes. The thing I don't like with it is, if you were to use Assassin Spirit right, as 3 stacks, you Assassin chest in, and you're going to go for a massive, massive opener on someone, you kind of can't, because you're going to take your stacks away, which means you're immediately going to be left in the open. You've popped your stealth, you've popped all your charges, you've popped your big burst, and that's it. You're stuck then. You have to either commit or like run away, and if you run away, you're in a bad position. And then obviously Sunder Armour is the harder one to stack up. It's the better one because you get the resistances reduction on them, so you're going to be hitting them for the extra 45 damage or 45 like reduction of armour. And then you do the 3 stacks, but it's very, very predictable then when you're going to cast it. In that, as soon as a dagger gets to 3 stacks, I pretty much just ice block and go, okay, your stacks are gone. Or I'll kite away with run, or sprint, or I'll knock them back, or you basically just peel them away until your stacks run out. That's always been the way to beat daggers. Very, very strong, very underrated. I think this is really, really good if people were to play with it properly. So, like, using this, you could potentially stack that to 3, dash, slit throat. You'd get the 6% extra damage bonus from that. You'd get the big stacks of that. You'd have dash. You'd just leave yourself without a cooldown. So you could potentially use something like Assassin's just afterwards to run away. And I think you could do a massive amount of damage with that if played properly. I think this weapon's very underused now with the new changes though. And we get into claws. Claws are amazing. I just wish more people would use them. Disembowel. While channeling, you root the enemy, cancel enemy spellcasting and repeatedly deal 118 damage up to a maximum of 10 hits. So you've already dealt 1180 damage. Let's just keep that in mind. After the first hit, the enemy receives an additional 166 bleed damage per second for 3 seconds. So you've then done another, 300, nearly 500 damage. So you've actually ended up doing like 1600 damage over the full channel. Nearly 1700 damage. That's crazy. And if you start getting Sunder Armours on before, you can literally 100-0 someone with this. And like the Mage Cow with the extra bleed, the extra poison, sorry. Like you really can just completely wipe someone out with this. Very, very underrated. Like if you were to use this on a healer, they basically have to cleanse it. If they don't, they're probably dead. Especially with Forbidden Stab on, because they can't heal, so they can only use instants. And if they use instant casts, they're pretty much dead anyway. The only problem I see with this is Great Holy counters this by popping E. If they time E at the exact right time, they can knock you away and interrupt your channel. But yeah, these are very, very good as well. People don't use them, but you can lock down a target. Even if it's just locking down for the interrupting spellcasting, you can stop a caster being able to cast. That's really strong. People really underestimate it. And we have Bloodletter. So Bloodletter is the tier 1 artifact. As you can see, it needs the artifact Hardened Debole. I think it's a good place. I think people again very much underestimate it. I think it does need a little bit of a tweaking, a little bit of a buff potentially, just because I just like Dagger. Both daggers do so much more damage, the claws do so much more damage. I feel like this needs to be able to be on par with it. The whole point of daggers is that they're very, very bursty weapons. Anyway, lunging stabs, dashes to a ground target location, dealing physical damage to any enemy in the way. The damage amount depends on each enemy's remaining health. Below 40% is 1082, but above 40% is 541. Energy cost 60, range 13 meters, cooldown 20 seconds. So, one thing to say about this is if you use dash and this, the mobility you have on this weapon is ridiculous. Like, you are not going to die. You just have so many ways to escape. However, this is only good with... I think a Bloodletter can only be used at the moment with a Clarent Blade. If they play correctly, you have the Clarent Blade go in, knock everyone to below 40%, and a Bloodletter goes in and finishes the whole team off with 1E. I've seen it happen. I've seen a Clarent and a Bloodletter kill 4 people just off one combo with a Clarent running in with Arcane Beam, and a Bloodletter then charging in behind with his E, and anyone that was below 40% just instantly died. This is effectively an execute if you play it properly. I think it can be good. I think it's just a bit weak at the moment. Like, unless it's below 40% health, this weapon is completely useless. Energy cost 60, which is not bad. The 13 meter range, which means it's an even longer dash than the actual dash, which is just crazy, and a 20-second cooldown. So it's good, but I think it has to be paired with like certain weapons, maybe a carrying cooler as well. Like, I think it's all about the melee dive comps with this, but it does have a place if people play it right. And finally, the Hell Artifact Black Hands. I've actually played with these, and they are hysterical. hysterical to play with. Devastating Strike. Punch an enemy in the stomach and stun him for 0.89 seconds, ignoring crowd control resistance, which means it's guaranteed to be that stun duration. After that time, you'll land your Devastating Strike, dealing 1097 physical damage. Yes, that is mental. Like, if you stack 3 stacks of Sunder Armour and then put this in, you're going to end someone. You're just going to destroy someone. You can put this on a healer, like Forbidden Stab, into that, and you're going to rip apart a healer. It is channeled, which means it can be interrupted if people play perfectly, but it's very hard to do. It's like a second delay. But you're also stunned during that time, so you can't ice block or anything. Like, if you play perfectly with the Black Hands, I think they are very strong, but they are a hell artifact and very expensive to keep up. 90 energy cost, which is a little bit mental, but you're only really going to get one of these off in a fight anyway. Range is 2 meters, you obviously have to be within melee range, and a 20-second cooldown, which is really low. Like, if you got 2 of these off, you'd end a fight, because people wouldn't be able to deal with that burst damage. But anyway, guys, just one last thing. If you're using this, use the Stalker Jacket. You can pop the Stalker Jacket before the stun, and it gives you that extra bit of burst as well. It just makes them even stronger. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, that normal stuff. Next video is going to be the Frost Staff, which I've got a lot of mastery in. I'm looking forward to making that video. Other than that, guys, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Check out the stream tomorrow. Have a good day. Catch you later, guys.